is Larry King with Captain Sully Sullenberger. As you might know, Captain Sullenberger landed U.S. Airways Flight 1549 on the Hudson River. Today we will be covering his life before this heroic event and the event itself. Good evening, Captain Sullenberger.
Good evening, Larry. How are you today?
I'm fine. Since everyone knows about it, what was your life like before the Air Force?
Well, I was born into a really strict family. We built our own house. We built the additions. You have a different perspective on life when you build your home. From a young age, I was interested in aviation. I've always wanted to take flight lessons, and my dad brought me down to a neighbor of ours who had an airstrip in his backyard, and he took us up in a little old raggedy little airplane, and I took flight lessons from him every day, a few times, not every day, but a few days a week. And then after a month or two, he let me fly the plane without him in it, like soloing. So he'd let me take off, fly around the airstrip once or twice. I'd land, and he'd rate me very intensely. Like, he'd critique my every mistake. And then, so he always made me better.
How did you become interested in aviation?
Well, I always saw my neighbor flying planes around, like the neighbor who taught me, and I always just wanted to try it. And once I tried it, like, he let me go up for free once, and I was hooked from there on.
What motivated you to become an Air Force pilot?
And I entered the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the first year was horrible. The hazing was extremely bad. It's like almost too inappropriate to say on TV. But yeah, it was pretty bad. But over the years, it got better.
How were the rest of the years at the Air Force Academy?
Well, they're a lot better than the first year, for sure. In the second year, we actually learned how to fly gliders, planes like no engines, and that was what I was really looking for, was flying planes for the United States of America. We learned we had like very intense classes. They were very hard, very demanding. And we had very little free time at all. You studied, you slept, you eat, and you did other chores for the military.
How did you become involved in commercial airlines?
Oh, well, I eventually retired out of the Air Force in about 10-15 years. I was lucky that I didn't fly in the Air Force during like wartime. I was done training after Vietnam, so I didn't have, and before the Persian Gulf. So around in the 80s, in the 80s, I was hired by an airline, and I flew regional jets around the United States. It was extremely low really low pay. It was almost like impossible to live on, but I managed. I was eventually hired by U.S. Airways, and that's what I'm currently flying today.
Explain the events leading up to the Hudson incident.
Eventually, we were cleared for takeoff around 3 that afternoon. We took off, and after about 2 minutes later, around 3,200 feet, we were struck birds, and the engines lost both thrusts, and we couldn't make it to LaGuardia, where we took off, or other airports in the New York area. So the only option was the Hudson River, and as you can tell, that's where we landed.
We have a depiction of what it might have been like in the cockpit and some rare video footage of how it actually happened.
Cactus 1549, 700, climbing 5,000.
Cactus 1549, departure to contact, climb, maintain 15,000.
Maintain 15,000, Cactus 1549. This is Cactus 1539. Hit birds, lost thrust on both engines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220.
220.
Tower, stop your departures. Got emergency returning.
Who is it?
It's 1529. He bird strike. He lost the thrust in the engines. He's returning immediately.
Cactus 1529. Which engines?
He lost thrust in both engines, he said.
Got it.
Cactus 1529. We can get it for you. Do you want to try to land 1013?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
Cactus 1529. Turn right 280. You can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
Cactus 1549, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport off your 2 o'clock in about 7 miles.
I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
That's all for today. This is Larry King signing off.